want to rephrase something Rudi once said to me. He said, if it's in front of you, it's yours, which had a huge impact on me. That nothing is there by mistake. If it's in front of you, it's for you. But I'm going to put it a little differently, maybe not in the vernacular that you want to hear, but one that is becoming increasingly potent for me in my life. Foundational, fundamental for me. If it's in front of you, it's God. We have a lot of ways of looking at life. Sometimes it's supportive, apparently making for ease and comfort, sometimes challenging, sometimes difficult, sometimes what we want, sometimes what we don't want. And we are programmed from early childhood to react to that. Mostly we react according to wanting something that gives us comfort, pleasure, joy, and angry at that which gives us pain or disturbance or some inner kind of suffering. All I can tell you, my evolving, I think evolving awareness, consciousness, is that I am increasingly aware, almost to the point of hardly ever not aware, that if it's in front of me, I am in direct alignment with, confrontation with, absorption with, love with God itself, creation itself. Trust me, it's not um, it's not a mistake. What's in front of you is holy ground. Trust me. It's not a distraction, a disturbance, a dream, whatever you want to call it, life, it is personal beyond belief. It is interactive beyond belief. I'm going to give it a statement that may be a little over the top, but it loves you beyond belief. It doesn't always come across that way, but I'm seeing it at work in so many ways. It is asking me personally to be present with it every second. And I don't mean every other second and twice a day during my meditation, during my whatever. I am asked to be one with what is, which is holy, transcendental, mystical, mysterious, unknowable, and yet right in front of me. It's all of you. It's the space I'm sitting in, those of you who are sitting in this room. It is the fabric, the static, the transitional, the emotive elements of life that are happening every second are not part of what one with that which is. And we are that. We feel like the reactive component to it, but we are not just reactive. We are that thing itself. And if you are caught up in your ego-minded me, first of all, that's one with it. It's not a great space to inhabit for one reason, because it's missing the point, it's missing the reality, it's missing the truth. But it doesn't seem to mind. Most of us are programmed to miss it. We walk around in a kind of blind spot all day long and have a lot of difficulty with that blind spot. But that's how we operate because, in that egocentric way, very myopic way, we're the totality. But trust me, you are the totality, but it's bigger than your, did somebody like what I did today or not like what I did? Or was I appreciated? Was I not appreciated? Or am I really a good person or am I not a good person? And all of those things that start to sort of dwell in your brain space, and you walk around carrying all of this crap, and you don't hear it. You don't know how to see clearly. You don't know how to see beyond your own day-to-day. You experience suffering, all kinds of suffering. And that suffering is absolutely unnecessary. It is chosen in many ways. It is something you have indoctrinated into your day-to-day life. And my job, assuming I have a job, is to maybe help talk you out, work you out, energetically remove you from your obsession with you. I am in a lineage of people, Rudi being my teacher, of course, and the best teacher I have ever encountered in my life. His work being so foundational, so simple, so easy in a way, if you do it, which is to go to the inner space, which opens the door to the outer. With that space closed, when your mind is closed and your ego is locked into itself, and your heart is closed and your gut is closed and your sexuality is just about pleasure and your no energy coming up and down through your spine, if you live that life, you live a life that is really shut off from God, from this. You live a life shut off. And if you live that life, it ain't fun. And I know most people I'm aware of are not having fun, if you will. And I see nothing but a kind of acceptance to some degree of one's pain, but often a lot of annoyance and a lot of anger and a lot of hostility to what's going on, and reaching for the pleasure zone and what will get me through the next moment, the next Hershey bar, whatever it is your thing is that will keep you sort of indoctrinated into world-like experience. But at a certain point, like my point, you can't have a Hershey bar. They've taken it away. They say, you eat a bite of a Hershey bar, we're going to give you pain immediately. And they do. They go right into my foot. I won't go into this, but I will tell you there is a direct correspondence between trying to get pleasure from the world in all the old traditional ways and being told no. No, I don't know why, but I don't ask why so much anymore, because I don't have an answer. It's because it is. This is how it is. There's an upside to this experience of God everywhere, being both pain and joy, and that is amazement. Just amazement. Day long, in and out amazement, and it doesn't stop. And directive. When I get annoyed with whoever I get annoyed with, and poor Blanche, who's sitting here, is the closest person I have to initiating annoyance for me, and not her fault on any level. It's just reactivity to patterning. And I now look at that, and there's this voice in me louder and louder that goes, no, can't do that. Cannot do that. The only reaction, the only response that I have that is worthy of anything in life is loving that thing which is arising in front of me, which is God itself. I walk around my house all the time because it's easier than walking on the hills outside. It's very circular and very joyful for me. I'm surrounded by images of things I love. But if there's a crumb on the floor, even though it's hard for me to bend these days, I bend down and I pick it up and I put it in the garbage. If a book on the table is not arranged properly, I adjust it. And I know that sounds stupid and kind of, something that, I forget the right word for that, but obsessive maybe, but it's not, because when I adjust the book to fit the table in the right way, something smiles at me, says, good, thank you. And it gives me this idea that the universe wants to be attended to, corrected, made beautiful, made accessible, expressive of the most wonderful part of its reality. And that we are a partner in that. We are, in fact, one with that. We are the corrective. We are the thing that makes life beautiful if we choose to do that. We're also potentially the thing that makes life a struggle and difficult for ourselves and for everyone around us. And the great thing about Rudi's teaching is that it provides an opportunity to stop in your tracks and go, whoa, I'm not living properly. I'm not looking at the world properly. I'm not experiencing God in my life. And so what can I do? And Rudi had a simple response. Take a deep breath, go into your heart chakra, hold your breath for 10, 20 seconds, and ask for help to surrender, to let go of you and your mind and the thing that's avoiding or not connecting to the what is. And if you do that and you practice it and you do it regularly, there really is a response. And if you do it for your lifetime, which luckily, for whatever reason, I have been told to do and have done, the response in the long run is you see what's in front of you. You actually see what's in front of you. And not only do you see it, you bow down to it, you honor it, and you serve it. And you serve it in the moment to moment. If it's in front of you, it's yours. If it's in front of you, it's God. And you actually begin to live in accord, moment to moment with that. Now, I will tell you, moment to moment is always changing. My suspenders fall off every other second, and I have to put them back up. I don't like that. I would rather wear a belt, but my pants won't hold up with a belt, so I have to wear suspenders. Is this a happy occasion in life? No. Is it annoying? Yes. Is it a reminder that I have to hold my pants up and that I have to have support? Yes. Is it a reminder that there's something there to help me? Yes. So I take it in those terms, and every minute is something different. You never know what you're going to get, and all predictability in my own life has gone away. I have stuff, pain that comes out of absolutely nowhere, bliss that comes out of nowhere, joy of being that is like, how did that happen? Desperation and everything disappearing. Like, how can I be in the presence of God and there be nothing reacting to that? The loss of God, in a certain sense, is one of the great teachings because it makes you work. It makes you go, where did that go? I was so connected to the totality of life and being and beauty and goodness and mystery. And now suddenly I'm like, what can I do now? That moment is not a sign of you've been abandoned by the world. You've been told, work deeper, take a breath, go somewhere, make an effort, try to find it, or this is tricky, accept the absence, accept the non-presence of that divinity as a part of divinity. And the only way you can do that is to stop you from saying, what about me? Because the absence is really something you separately feel because something is missing for you. Take you out of the equation, and nothing is missing. The only thing that's problematic in our lives is us. And we define ourselves in such sort of specific, complicated terms that need to be satisfied and taken care of, that we create this separation from the very thing that we are one with. We become a two. We become a two very early on, and that two is fine. It's part of the divine plan, if you will, but it hurts. It's problematic. It's temporary, and it has a limited duration. And then you get to my age, and I know I talk about that all the time now, but you get to my age, and what happens is the finality shows itself. And you can look at life with finality and going, oh, no, what about all that crap? Or you can go, this has been the most beautiful ride imaginable. This has been exquisite. This is exquisite. You can go to the past tense. You're not probably going to go to the future tense, but that's not important. You go to the present tense. And the present tense goes, it's still beautiful, still amazing, still incredible. And I don't know how to convey that to you. I know it energetically when I sit and work with you guys, kind of the experience really is energetic. It's a strange phenomenon that, Rudi in a way taught me, which is we can energize each other. And we energize each other by an abstraction of energy, or if you want to give it a name and a quality, it's really love, it's insight, it's understanding, it's compassion, it's caring. It just travels. And it can travel through your eyes when you just look at somebody, which is a wonderful thing. In my case, it travels through my hands as well. It's called mudra, and it sends energy. Rudi did that as well. You can touch people when you hug them, or the way you hug them. It's so simple to convey a kind of connectedness to the world, to life itself. And you become a vehicle, a vessel for God experiencing itself, God loving itself, God helping people in this journey through this life that we do not mentally usually understand, but we experience it fully. And that experience is amazing. It is remarkable. And we are so lucky to hold on to it. But in terms of not understanding it, a couple of things. My son called me 2 weeks ago, Ari, 3 weeks ago, and said he's going to get married to the most wonderful woman I've ever come across in the world, other than my wife and my certain other very close relatives. This woman is exquisite and stunning and wonderful. Her name is Burcu from Turkey. They've been together for a little over a year, and my son has proposed to her, and they are going to be together, and my son will have a kind of happiness in his life that I have prayed for from day one. Positive, right? Positive note. They are about to go on a cruise to Alaska. My son doesn't really have time because his work is so overloaded, but they have the cruise planned and they are going. Her visa will not allow her to take the trip. So they lose the trip to Alaska. They lose all the money involved in going to Alaska. So this beautiful kind of moment to celebrate their engagement is gone. And she and I are like heartbroken. Like, oh my God, they could have had this wonderful trip. And then they decide to go on a little trip. While they're on the little trip, she starts having pain in her chest. She thinks it's a kind of a cold. They go back home. It gets worse. She ends up in the emergency room with pulmonary embolisms in both lungs. Had she been on the cruise, she would have died. She ended up in the ER for 3 days, operation. She's alive and well, thank God. But had they gone on the cruise, it would have been a disaster. When my son moved to Orlando, which is where he met her, he had the worst job in his life, hated every minute of it. But if he hadn't gone there, he would never have met Burcu. So what looks so often in our lives like horrible, terrible events and things that are against us are in fact not against us. They are totally for us. They are the universe misinterpreted by our mind as disappointing when in fact they're life-saving, life-granting. And our mind cannot comprehend the world. It cannot comprehend the dynamics of what goes on here. It just doesn't work that way. We are limited in our vision. But when you let go of your vision and your awareness and your knowledge, and you open to trusting what is in front of you at any given moment, the wonder of life, the wonder of the beauty of this life comes pouring through. And all I can tell you is the journey that each of us are on right now is a journey to waking up to what is, period. Get rid of our difficult minds, get rid of our emotional upheaval, and face what is. Now, it's very interesting to me that in the last few weeks, I started hearing from people talking about what they will call their despair, that life is oscillating between beauty and moments of just difficult, terrible despair, feeling lost and painful and emotionally disturbed on levels that they haven't experienced before, or that has been there for a long time and hasn't been expressed, and they haven't known what to do with it. And I'm surprised, first of all, by the numbers of people I'm hearing who are expressing these problems. And then I'm not surprised because I look at the world around us and it sends lots of cues out to people to create disturbance if you want to enter into disturbance. And one of the things about disturbance is it's very vibrant, it's very alive. And a lot of people get caught up in the stuff, which I talked about last week in my class, the life out there is trying to manipulate us in so many ways for its sense of dynamism. But the despair and the unhappiness and the difficulty and the struggle that so many people are experiencing is very hard to deal with. And if you go to your doctor, yes, they will give you pills that will help with that. I have a kind of reaction that is very similar to Rudi's, which was if you have a headache, take an aspirin. They do have pills out there that, if you are in real despair, will really help. And I think if you're a meditator and you are suffering, don't think, well, I have to meditate myself out of this. Sometimes life is really hard to handle. So, this may have me lose all my students, but I would say go to a doctor and get medicated, get some help to get you so you can help ride through some of the deeper disturbances that are going on that are maybe harder than your meditative muscle is able to take care of. Just a suggestion. In other words, stop fighting the fact that you're in pain and try to find some help. There will be some help available, and then there will be help that will not be available. There will be things that have to go on that cannot be helped. I've described my neuropathy on my feet and elsewhere. And, I went to the top neuropathic guy in the country, well, in New York, and he said, there's nothing I can do, basically. And I went, oh, wow. What about all the pills and things? And I mean, he had some little suggestions, and I tried that before. And so what I came back from that with was, you got to deal with this like a grown-up. There are pains and difficulties in life that are not going to be addressed by the outer world. You have to be responsible for the inner reaction. And my experience with that is that pain comes and goes at totally unexpected times, middle of the night, early morning, right after breakfast. I mean, who knows? It just comes and then it goes away and it comes. I have to look at that as God is present. I know it's a strange way to look at life and look at what God is, because we all want it to be pure joy and bliss and wonderful. All I'm telling you is it's everything. If it's there, it's God. And if you are smart, you go bow down, say thank you. And I want to make sure that you all understand this is not a lecture about an idea. This is not a talk about something that could be or might happen or you can work your way into. It's happening. It is there now. If you are not experiencing that amazement, if you will, the awe and wonder of being in touch with something so remarkable, working in mysterious ways that we cannot understand, affecting our lives in ways that I will say to you, perhaps just from Bruce, I don't know, but it feels like more, that this force absolutely loves you more than you can intuit on any level. And it works you in ways that you will never comprehend, and it doesn't matter. Go with it. Go with what's in front of you. Open, open, open. One of the great tools you have is your double breath exercise. Take the double breath, go inside, find your way into this extraordinary space of acceptance and surrender and allowing and comfort and just be and use that as best you can. I know sometimes you're going to have to go deeper than you've ever had to go before. That's the way it goes. Sometimes it's going to hurt more than it ever hurt before. Sometimes it's going to love you more than you've ever experienced or believed was possible. It will do all of this stuff. You're on the ride. You are the ride. This is not cognitively comprehensible. There's nothing I'm saying that your brain can go, oh, I get it. Not like that. All I can tell you is it is it. It is that. You are that. And if it's in front of you, it is God. That's all I can tell you. Amen. Comments? Any thoughts? Anything beyond that, or should we just leave it at that? Maybe we'll leave it. Arkady, if I have trouble loading this later, I'll get in touch with you. I may not know how to put it up on the website or whatever. Anyway, I really love you guys. I look at you in ways that you would be amazed by. You come back. Reflection that I get from you is staring at the creator itself. That's truly what I get. Yeah, and whether you know that or don't know that, that's what I see. Even more complicatedly, perhaps, that's what I know. I know who you are. I wish you all to know who you are as well. It would be just a joy for everybody to have that. Thank you. Until next time.